What's up, football fans? YouTube, you're back with Justin's Pro Football Scouting Analysis. On today's video, we're going to be doing the top 20, or as far as we can get on top 20 rank positions for the 2020 NFL mock draft. We're going to do the offensive side first, and it would be starting with everything besides wide receivers and tight ends. We'll do them on a separate video. I couldn't get everything in at once on there. But as always, we'll go in and do a little bit of analysis and talk about some of them and go through the top 5 and talk about them more, and then go to the board to talk about the rest. When I say the board, I mean the dry erase board. As always, I don't know if you heard any of my other videos, but I'd like to get above 500 subscribers. Then we'll start doing a subscriber of the month jersey giveaway. We'll do that every month after we get over 500 subscribers. I had a little video, if you've seen any of them in there. I did one with a Dolphins jersey, I think. It'll be good quality, and we'll give them away every month. So don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you guys over here on Justin's Pro Football Scouting Analysis channel. Let's get right into it. The top tackle on my board would be Andrew Thomas. He's probably falling in a lot of people's draft boards or their big boards, but not on mine. And the reason why he's probably falling is because a lot of people might project him as more of a guard than a tackle. He does a lot of things well, but he's a great run blocker, man. He could solidify the left side of the line for pretty much anybody, so he's a great prospect and deserves to be the number 1 rated tackle. I don't know, though. Tristan Wirfs had a really good combine. Coming up here soon, we'll talk about him. He didn't do too dang bad. A lot of these guys made themselves money by either participating, or some of them are so good they really didn't have to. I didn't really see too much of Andrew Thomas at all. It's changing a lot now, the draft. But I really think Thomas will be a great one. I'm not sure where he'll go. Probably he might fall outside the top 10 now. But he's my number 1. Let's move on. This will be my number 2 rated tackle right here, which would be Trey Adams out of Washington. I think I've already did a write-up on both Thomas and Adams. I don't know if we were bringing out the charts like I'm doing now on them before then, but you pretty much get an analysis on them anyway. He's kind of a lumber, kind of a big plotter. His feet are a little bit heavy, kind of like that Jedrick Wills everyone's so high on. He's got a little bit better movement, Wills does, than Adams, though. Excuse me, but in big games, he showed up and he can make blocks. My number 3 guy would be Wirfs, which really maybe should be my number 2, honestly. Wirfs really had a good combine, and his tape shows it. He's got athletic ability that's nuts. It's crazy. He did great at the combine. He can affect the screen game, and he can affect your run game. He can pull and trap real well. Great movement. Real strong kid, too. I think this guy would fit great in just about anybody's system. He probably should be the number 2 guy, though, over Adams. But go ahead, let's get into the next guy. It'll be our number 4 guy here is Jedrick Wills from Alabama. Excuse me. He's really good. He actually has a lot of potential to him. A lot of people will probably make him as their number 1 tackle on their board, maybe. I think he's a little bit of a heavy plotter as well. His feet are good, but I think his feet are still a little bit heavy. He is a good right tackle. I could see someone trying to project him inside as a guard, or even maybe trying to experiment and make him a left tackle. We'll go into the last one here, which would be Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson out of USC. He's not bad. He's pretty good. He's solid. He can run block and pass block pretty well. I think he got worked over against A.J. Epinesa in a game where they played Iowa. I watched a little bit of the tape on it, and he got worked pretty good. But he's still a really good prospect, really good tackle. Long arms, big, strong, good hand placement for the most part. I think he would be my fifth overall tackle. And this is a guy who actually should be right up the board. Maybe even your third tackle would be Mekhi Becton. He's real strong, probably one of the stronger tackles in this class. The thing about him that scares me is a guy that big. I mean, which I'm sure he will check out medically, but if he was to get hurt, I mean, I don't know how long he would be able to, if he'd be able to come back if he suffered anything major, basically is what I'm saying. But he's so big that he scares me as far as being able to move with a speed rusher at the next level. But I think he'll be able to handle it. I think he'll transition well. It's a 50-50 on him. When you get into more of the chart here, obviously the top of the guys we already looked at, which, excuse me, not the chart, but the dry erase board, which you have my 1 through 5. I separated them into tiers, kind of. You'll see that into every 5 guys, you have like a tier 1, tier 2. The next tier of tackles is actually not too dang bad either. There's a lot of tackles in this class, as we can see right here. The next set would have been, Becton was there, but Prince Wanago, Josh Jones from Houston, Yasser Durant, which probably could drop down a little bit, and then Lucas Nang from TCU. I think Durant probably would go a little bit further down now. Nang would probably take his spot at number 9. After that, there's actually some good ones too. Yeah, like Matt Pert. Wilson would go up there from Georgia a little bit higher. Akeem Adeniji, no one wants to really talk about him, but I think he's got some versatility. He can play guard or tackle, and boy, talk about someone trying to emphasize to stay squared up to their man. That Adeniji does it. He's really good. Then that Scott Ferentz from Kansas, he's actually not bad. He's decent. Looked at some of his tape as well. Pretty good. And then that Ezra Cleveland, yeah, that dude moved way up my board. Way up the board. He should probably be like your number 9 or 10 guy now. He's got some really quick feet. And Charles, the LSU kid, no one's giving no love to. He's pretty good, though. He's very underrated. And Driscoll, he definitely is going to be at least my number 10 guy now. He doesn't deserve to be down here at 17. He's real good. Throckmorton actually moved up too because he's got versatility. He can play a couple different tackle positions. So he's actually a lot better than anyone's given credit to. That's just looking at the rest of the big board here before we get back into talking about the guards a little bit more. But there's a lot of tackles in this draft. There's more than even we just talked about right there. There's probably a couple more I left out. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know if there's any that I didn't talk about or that are not on my board that you want to bring to my attention, because they all should be on there. But a lot of these tackles are going to be project players and probably won't start right off the bat. Your top tier tackles probably will, like your top 5 guys should, but your second tier, third tier, and so on, they might take a little bit more time to develop. Let's get into the guards. All right, my top rated guard definitely will still be Solomon Kindley from Georgia. He would be my top guard. I seen him falling in some recent mocks and down people's big boards, and that's fine. This guy can do a lot of good things. He's got some good movement, and he's a hell of a run blocker and one good pass blocker. He played next to Andrew Thomas, and had the benefit of doing that. But that's my top guard. My number 2 guard would be Ben Brederson out of Michigan, which this guy needs some work with his techniques and his mechanics, but he somehow, some way just seems to get the job done. He can pass block and run block very well. He will surprise some people how good he really is, because he's really not that athletic. He really doesn't have that great feet or change of direction or big power. Well, he's powerful, but not big time. But this will be my number 2 guard here overall. My number 3 would be John Simpson from Clemson. He's really good. I liked his tape a lot. He's also got some position flexibility to him as well. He can play either guard or he can play some tackle. He's decent. He's got real strong technique and mechanics, and he's got a great strong punch too. On to my number 4 guard, which would be Shane Lemieux. He fell a little bit in my mock, I guess you could say, but he's pretty good. He doesn't do anything eye-poppingly great, but he does just about everything good. You know, he's decent. His chart was okay. He can run block real well. I think he can run block maybe a little bit better than he can pass block. He plays a little high sometimes for my liking. My number 5 guard is very underrated and probably should actually be higher. Maybe like my number 3 guard, which would be that Michael Onwenu from Michigan. This guy played great during the Senior Bowl. It's where he really started to stand out to me, and then I went back to look more at his tape, and he's solid. He's underrated, and no one's going to think much of him, probably because he's pretty raw still from a technique and mechanics standpoint, but he's got the raw athletic ability and the raw strength to play, and athletic movement as well. Then you get into I think this would be, the number 6. Most of them are 6th ranked, from 1 to 6 as far as how many I'm ranking and talking about in depth. This would be the Logan Steinberg. This guy right here, I haven't checked too much into his chart yet. I haven't done a chart on him quite yet, but I'm getting ready to. I'm sure he'll come up on my mock here real soon. I've got a glance at his tape, and he's a road grading guard. He can block real well. He can pass block too, but he's more of a nasty streak run blocking guard. And you get a look at the big board back again I had Baya Diaz being the top guard, but really he's not. I'd make him my top center. So Solomon Kindly, Brederson, I forgot who was the third guy I had on there. Stunts my mind, but wasn't Lemieux, it was somebody else. But we'll get on to the other guys that it's in the second tier of it, which Steinberg made that style. Nute Mute. Yeah, he's one of my favorite guards in this class. And Damian Lewis, and then Onwenu right there is actually moved way up my board. And then Akeem Adeniji. See, he's got player flexibility. Or versatility, excuse me. He can play some guard and he can play some tackle. But the Mutang's got pure strength. But I think he's going to need to bulk up in the lower half of his body and move people more than just pop them really hard. So he's just pure strength at this point. Then you get into Jackson, Jarvis, Pollard. John Runyon from Michigan can play guard and tackle. Pollard is more of a guard and center combo. Jarvis would be from Michigan State, pure guard. Not as good or polished as the rest of the class. And then Jackson would be the Jonah Jackson from Ohio State. Somebody I know, I think it was Broshmo, had him ranked as the top guard. I don't put too much stock into him like that, though, but he's decent. Then you get back into the bottom end of it, you'd have Anderson. That Sims is actually pretty good. Higbee, and I think it was Gonzalez. The Anderson, you'll see the Jack Anderson is his name. He's out of Texas Tech. He actually can play center and guard. I like him. I think he's pretty good, very underrated. Not too bad. Higbee, I haven't done a write-up on yet either. Most of these guys on the bottom tiers I haven't really looked at. Let's get into the centers. Let's go ahead and talk about them. My top center would be, we're going to do 7 of them here, would be Tyler Biadasz, or however you pronounce it. But this guy is going to be a good player right here in the NFL. I think you're looking at a guy who can be in the Pro Bowl year after year. He's got great mobility. Excuse me. He's a great center, good leader, good run blocker, gets to the next level, great hand placement, and strong, versatile leader. Here's my number 2, which is one of my favorites, is Lloyd Cushenberry. Cushenberry here did a lot to stand out to me when I got to look at his tape. He's a natural knee bender with long, lanky arms, with very strong at the point of attack, gets to the next level quite a bit. I think I already did him and Tyler Biadasz. Both of them are real good. Anybody who gets either one of them is going to be happy. Great leader. Cushenberry is going to be great. On to my number 3 here, which would be Cesar Ruiz. And this guy's excellent too. I already did a chart on him. Go back and look at my video. I did a whole analysis on him already. He's pretty good. He can do a little bit of everything. He can move athletically. He can pull and trap, get to the second level. He can pass block real good too, run block real good. Plays with good pad level, has some decent power and good hands and hand placement. Let's keep it moving. This guy right here is a beast. Probably should be up higher as Harris. I think it's Nick Harris. He's my number 4 out of Washington. He showed me a lot at the Senior Bowl and during the one-on-one practices. Excuse me, that stood out to me. This guy really is a fighter. Gets his hands on people and doesn't stop. He likes to block and shows improvement in his game, and that he can improve, even get even better. We haven't done a chart on him yet, but his numbers coming. It's only a matter of time. Here's another guy who's pretty underrated as well. I think it's Jake Hansen or Jason Hansen. I think it's Jake Hansen out of Oregon. He's very underrated, very consistent. This is just at first glance. I got a little bit of look at him. Haven't done a chart on him quite yet. But he's a great pass blocker and a good solid run blocker. Looking at a smart center here who can get to the next level and affect the game from a number of standpoints, from the screen game to the running game at the next level. And then you'll get into a guy who last year I thought was supposed to go. This will be my number 6, which will be Daryl Williams out of Mississippi State. Falling down everybody's draft boards and probably should have came out last year. Probably cost himself a lot of money by not doing so. I haven't got to a chart right up on him either. But at first glance at him, I get a little bit of a look at his film. He's pretty good. He can get to the next level. He's pretty athletic. He's got strong hands. Didn't get a good look at his knees, but we'll get into him later. Then here's the last guy, who's honorable mention number 7, Matt Hennessy from Temple. I got real familiar with his game during the Senior Bowl and the one-on-one practices. Excuse me. So he was going against really top-level competition there. Guys who played, Ohio States and LSU's, and he was handling them up pretty good. I mean, every now and then he'll have a lapse in his concentration and his technique and mechanics and lose a battle, but that's expected. But he's very underrated, and I think will surprise a lot of people going into the next level on this guy. This guy's going to be pretty good, and no one probably expected it, but he's a fighter and going to be a good center. Let's talk about some of the rest of them. We'll get a look at the dry erase board, obviously by Diaz, Cushenberry. I obviously dropped Williams down a little bit. Everybody's dropping him down a little bit. I'll get him, maybe do some more research on Williams and see why he's dropping so much. If somebody else knows why he's dropping so much, leave it in the comment section. Let me know. Let's share here information if you have it. Maybe he got injured or something I don't know about. But his play on the field looks pretty good. The rest of those guys like Harris and Hansen are pretty underrated. Same with Hennessy. We'll look at the second tier here. There's some guys on there too who are underrated. McCoy I haven't really looked too much at yet. And obviously we know Hennessy is vastly underrated. The other guys, like I was saying, the Jack Anderson, he's pretty underrated as well from Texas Tech. I like his game. He can play a little bit. Not bad at all. I think I'm missing somebody that was in there. Maybe it was Sean Pollard or someone. Somebody else was up there to the top that I forgot. But Morgiai and Castillo, I've seen a little bit of tape on Castillo, and I know I need to look at Ishmael. And Cabral to the bottom, I've seen some of his tape from one of them games from Arizona State, I want to say. and his tape didn't look too bad. But some of these other guys I'm not too familiar with, so I need to come and obviously their names will get called on my charts, and then I'll do a write-up on them. But I'm not too familiar with the bottom half of the tier down here, so I'm not going to try to lie to you and say I am, because I'm not. But we'll see. Like, I don't know nothing about McCollum or Johnson as well, but if they're that low, you never know, though. They could end up being one of those guys just like to make my all-Lindsay team, like when Philip Lindsay did. We never know about those guys. Yeah, quarterbacks got to make them split-second decisions, don't they? We'll get into the quarterbacks. We'll do top 7 here. This is my number 1 quarterback. I ain't never seen nothing like this guy before. I realize he's only got 1 year production, and people might think he doesn't have a strong arm, but in my opinion, this guy's going to be a stud. He can make quick processing reads, has pretty much elite level competition play. His pocket awareness is real good. If he has to pull it down and make a run, he'll pull it down and make a run. He has to pull it down and throw it away, that's what he'll do. He's going to be a great one, man. He's going to be good. And my number 2, everybody's favorite, Tua. And this guy right here is going to be, I don't know. If he can stay healthy and get into the right system, he's going to be great. He's got elite pocket awareness and mobility. I think that's the best part of his game, is he keeps his eyes up and feet moving and can make plays. And he's got good processing speed. He can go through his reads and make throws. He can make all the throws. I had to look up to his film and warm up to him, because at first I wasn't a big fan, but I went and looked more and more, and he can really throw it. He can sling it. There's some people who might not be their favorites, but he's not bad. He should be pretty good. My number 3 quarterback would be Jordan Love, Utah State. This one right here is not a matter of let's look at the statistics and what did he do statistically. I'm not looking at that at all, because it doesn't matter. What matters is his intangibles and what he could be. To me, a lot of people were comparing him to Mahomes. More to me, looks like Russell Wilson. He's got that style of passing like Wilson's. He throws a lot of floating passes, a lot of passes that you might not think should be thrown, but he makes it look good too. He's going to be good, and he can run, so he's good. Here's my number 4 quarterback, which is probably known as not my favorite quarterback by far out of all of them. Yes, he's got a laser arm. Yes, he's got some great athletic ability and some wheels. He's also got some terrible mechanics, and he's got some terrible technique as far as his setup. I don't like it, except this little ball flip thing he does as soon as he gets in his hand, which is a no-no. His hips are all over the place. We'll see if someone can fix him. Then you'll get into a guy who I really kind of like. My number 5 would be Eason. And this guy's got a cannon, howitzer of an arm. He can really throw it far, and he can throw it hard. The thing about this guy is when he's on his game, he's on his game. When he's not on his game, he probably has kind of a bad game. He needs to stay clean, and his technique and mechanics need to stay clean. On to my number 6, which would be Jalen Hurts. He's kind of the wild card of the bunch. This guy does have some, I think the biggest part of his game he's going to need to work on is to get familiar with the playbook and whatever he does run, because he can throw it. He can spin it pretty good. He's got some nice touch. The thing for me is does he has the football IQ? Can he get through his reads quick enough? And I don't know if he has that. And I don't know if he has the clutch gene or not. We're going to find out. I know he can run. That's the best part of his game. Here's the biggest sleeper of the quarterbacks, maybe of them all, probably is going to be Anthony Gordon. Now, this guy, when you're talking about arm angles and comparing him to someone like Mahomes, this guy has those throws where it looks like a shortstop throwing a baseball across the diamond to first base to get an out. He can make different arm angle throws, touch throws. He can make all the throws. He's got great timing, great rhythm. We're going to get into his chart later, and I think this guy's going to be outstanding. He's underrated in a dark horse right now, but that doesn't mean much. He's going to be good. Watch. So as you go and look at the dry erase board, obviously, on quarterbacks, we got Burrow, Tua, Love, Herbert, and who the hell was it? Eason. Or somebody I missed that was in there. Hurts, too, was there. But as you get a look at the second tier, you had Eason moved up. Fromm, who I think is going to be a backup and has limitations big time on his arm. Stanley, I think, is going to be a nice little sneaker in there. He's got a rocket arm and can make reads. Can't move very much, though. McDonald, I think, same thing. Him and Stanley both can be sleepers. Morgan, a lot of people are talking to Morgan. Teams are having him in for sit-downs. Lewerke, I don't know. He's a huge project. That Mason Fine kid can really spin it. He can throw. He has size limitations, but doesn't mean much. But some of these quarterbacks to the bottom, people could get a look at. I've seen Davidson play a little bit at the Senior Bowl. That's about it. Now we'll get into my running backs. This will be the last position group that we do, and then maybe we'll come back and do a tight ends and wideouts. But Jonathan Taylor will be my top running back, and he is outstanding. He's got a lot of miles on him. Probably is my only knock on him, but he can catch, he can run, he can do a little bit of everything. He's really fast, and he proved that at the combine. He can run 4.4 speed all day. So this is a burning running back right here who can do a little bit of everything. Very explosive. DeAndre Swift would be my number 2 running back. He can do a little bit of everything and was the heart and soul pretty much of Georgia's offense last year, and probably even the year before that. He's very fast, very elusive. He's pretty explosive. He can catch as well as he can run it. He's got a lot of good qualities to him. His shiftiness is probably the best quality. My number 3 running back right here, probably my favorite running back in this draft, is going to be J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins can do all of it. He can catch it, he can run it, he can block, he can run routes, he can do just about everything. This guy here is going to be really good. I'm not sure if my favorite football team will get a hold of him or not, but I really like Dobbins. I think he's got the best vision out of any running back in this class, and he runs the ball with a lot of heart, a lot of like a chip on his shoulder. I like JK a lot. My number 4 running back moved up quite a bit, I think, in my opinion, in my eyes, after I watched his tape. And in the middle of the season, he caught my attention sometimes, like, who is this kid? Great contact balance, great leverage, plays well behind his pads, and more surprisingly than anything, he's probably one of the better catching running backs out of this whole draft. He can run a lot of routes, Texas, swing. I think I even seen him do a flag or a double move in there. He's going to be a pretty good one. Here's a good running back right here, Cam Akers. I just got done doing his chart, and his chart checked out perfect. Just like the Denzel Mims chart I did check out. These mid-round guys like this are going to end up being the steals of the draft. You never know. This guy can do a little bit of everything. He was great. He can catch it. He can run it. He can block. I even seen him throw passes. When it comes down to it, your quarterback's got to make that split-second decision. Am I going to be the hero, or am I going to be the zero? I'd rather have one that just goes for it. Don't be scared to be the hero. That's going to do it for us. Remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you. And leave a comment in the comment section. Deuces.